Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I want to continue this topic about ego from marriagemeansmore.com, M-O-O-R-E. He's a marriage coach or dating relationship coach. And so I find articles I think, that strikes a chord with me. And I want to share that with the people here because I think I want to talk about things that help people be a good husband, whether you've married someone from beyond the sea or not. So please subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea. I try to have lots of videos. I've got many hundreds of them with many hundreds, Lord willing, yet to come. And so let's talk about ego again today. There is the constant blame game they list here. They talk about a sense of superiority and entitlement. Can you see these things happening when one person in the marriage, at least, has a really large ego? We all have one. But if it's really out of proportion, then, like they say, you'll have constant blame games, sense of superiority and entitlement, jealousy, insecurity. I'm going to leave my thoughts on these things. Also, endless criticism, and then competition. I just did a video about competition, and ego could play into that. Now, the expectations, when a man marries a woman from another country, he has expectations and he has an ego, and most men don't like their wives to change. We like them the way they are, and that may be his expectation. She's never going to change. Well, she'll change physically, and then she'll change after just growing up, living longer. There will be some maturity, hopefully good changes. But somebody with a big ego might not want to see any change, and their expectations could be unrealistic too. And if they're unrealistic from the start, then he's going to feel let down because he deserves everything that he thinks he should have. And so that would be bad for his ego. As far as blaming, ego doesn't want to look bad. So if a relationship fails, he could blame it on the Filipina because he's got a big ego and it's not him. If it doesn't work out, it's something about the woman that he chose to propose to, and he chose to pursue, and he chose to marry, and he chose to petition her here. So, he needs to be, I always say this, not just for this video, the husband needs to take responsibility. He's the CEO of the marriage, and he should look at it that way. Whatever he's got to do to make it work, that he's got to do. Superiority, entitlement. Well, yeah, older man, younger woman, first world country like America, third world country they call it in comparison for development, the Philippines. And he might say, look, this is the best place to be, and forget about the Philippines and let me make all the decisions because I'm older and wiser and smarter or whatever, and I can't trust. And the ego probably has trouble letting go of some responsibility and trusting. But when the Filipina gets here, she's going to need to learn how to do things, and she's going to want to do things and be contributing to the relationship. He really, if you go into any relationship like marriage with a sense of entitlement, and if the ego is fueling that, well, he's going to be very disappointed. There's so much positivity and exuberance when you're communicating with a woman online from thousands of miles away, young, pretty woman perhaps, and so your ego is really being stroked, and then she gets to you, and eventually reality sets in, and you're married to a normal person just like anyone else, and you start getting on your nerves, and that could be causing resentment to somebody with a big ego. Jealousy, insecurity, they mention the article, and that would be a really dangerous combination. If your person has a big ego, he's jealous of his woman, he doesn't trust her, insecure, won't let her work, won't let her get out of his sight, wants to know if he does everywhere she was. And doesn't trust that she knows how to handle if some guy comes onto her, or if some woman tells her she's making a terrible mistake, doesn't want to let her out in the world, wants to insulate her. And a person with a big ego, I can see that happening, because they don't want to know that something isn't right, and they don't want anyone else to know that, hey, I may have a normal marriage. The perfect woman he married might be, perfectly normal. Instead, competition was mentioned there. I just did a video on competition. When is marriage like sports? But ego, even in sports, an ego is a bad thing. You need a point guard, somebody that doesn't care how much they score, but they sure care about winning. That's all they care about, is winning. If they have to score to help win, that's fine. If they got to pass, rebound, block out, do all the dirty work, dive on the floor, they do that because they want to win. That's the way the husband has to be. He doesn't care what he has to do or give up or how he has to adjust. He's got to keep it going. He's the point guard. He is the assist maker. He makes the best decisions for the team to win. He's not caring about the glory he gets, and it's not a competition, but he wants what's best for her. He wants what's best for the marriage. And that's why I like the idea of servant leadership, because servant leadership is good for business. It's good for dating relationships. It's good for marriage. Being a servant leader, unselfish, and being unselfish is one of the things in 1 Corinthians 13 about love, and is a trait of love. It also talks about not being puffed up, vain, probably related to having a big ego. So it's important, if we're going to be embarking on love beyond the sea, that we realize, while you can get married, I think, relatively easily, you may have to wade through more scammers than you initially anticipated. But there's many, many, many solid Filipinas out there that want to be married, and they're not scamming. And you can tell because they're not asking for money. Also, they're not overtly asking for money, and they're not giving you hints, showing you pictures or bills or so-and-so is ill. They're not coming right out and asking you for money, but they're kind of letting you know there's a need, and they want to see what you do. And the legitimate Filipina is just not going to do that. And also, they tend not to like men with big egos anyway. So let me know what you think about this video. I think learning to let go of your ego is going to be a positive thing if you're looking for love beyond the sea.